The air shifts before the first drop is ever poured. A heavy, fragrant smoke rises from a small charcoal brazier, carrying the sharp, earthy scent of green beans turning a deep, glistening brown. In a world that measures time in fleeting seconds and instant gratification, there is a place where time is intentionally slowed down, measured instead by the rhythmic grinding of a wooden pestle. This is the heart of Ethiopia, where the simple act of preparing a daily beverage transcends sustenance. It becomes a profound social anchor. Here, the preparation is not a chore to be rushed, but a deliberate hours-long meditation on human connection. Known locally as the Buna Tetu, the Ethiopian Coffee Ceremony is an elaborate tradition of hospitality and community building. The phrase translates simply to drinking coffee, yet those two words hold the weight of centuries of cultural identity. It is an invitation to pause, to sit, and to be entirely present with one another. When a host washes the raw beans, roasts them over open coals, and passes the smoking pan around for guests to inhale the aroma, they are offering a profound gesture of respect. The ceremony demands patience, asking both host and guest to surrender their urgency to the slow, intentional rhythm of the ritual. Within the walls of a family home, this daily practice forms the bedrock of household unity. Fresh grass, known as katema, is often scattered across the floor to welcome nature indoors, creating a sacred space for the gathering. The matriarch of the family, or a younger woman stepping into her heritage, takes her place behind a small wooden table laden with handleless cups. As she pours the dark, rich liquid from the jebena, a traditional black clay pot with a long, elegant neck, she is not merely serving her family. She is weaving the invisible threads of bonding that hold them together. The pouring itself is an art form, a continuous, unbroken stream delivered from nearly a foot above the tiny cups, ensuring the grounds remain settled at the bottom. This careful pouring mirrors the care taken in nurturing the family's relationships. Every cup represents an opportunity to check in, to share the triumphs and burdens of the day, and to solidify mutual understanding. The Buna Tetu is served in 3 distinct rounds, each holding a specific social and spiritual significance. The first round, called Abol, is the strongest, designed to awaken the senses and initiate deep conversation. It is during Abol that elders share wisdom, passing down oral histories and moral lessons to the younger generation sitting at their feet. As the ritual progresses to the second round, known as Tona, the brew becomes slightly milder, and the circle of conversation widens to encompass the broader neighborhood. Neighbors frequently cross thresholds unannounced, drawn by the unmistakable scent of roasting beans, knowing they will be welcomed with open arms. In Ethiopian culture, hospitality is not reserved for special occasions or formal invitations. It is a daily expectation, a deeply ingrained value that ensures no one in the village remains isolated. The ceremony transforms a private home into a public sanctuary, a safe harbor where community bonds are continuously renewed and strengthened. It is during this communal gathering that the true power of the tradition reveals itself as an instrument for dispute resolution. When conflicts arise between neighbors or family members, the coffee ceremony provides a neutral, structured environment for mediation. The deliberate pacing of the ritual forces tempers to cool. You cannot shout or rush while waiting for the jebena to boil over charcoal. Anthropologist Dr. Alula Pankhurst's research highlights how these informal gatherings serve as indigenous courts of reconciliation, where grievances are aired respectfully and compromises are forged over shared cups. The shared experience acts as a social lubricant, dissolving animosity and restoring harmony to the community fabric. This profound alignment of hospitality and community healing is not entirely unique to the Horn of Africa, echoing deeply in other diverse traditions across the globe. Consider the Southern African philosophy of Ubuntu, a concept defined by the belief that I am because we are. Ubuntu emphasizes that human identity is shaped entirely through our relationships with others, a worldview perfectly mirrored in the shared cups of the Buna Tetu. When a foreign visitor experiences the coffee ceremony for the first time, they often feel a striking sense of recognition, an awakening to the universal human craving for belonging. The deliberate inclusion practiced in Ethiopia resonates with the core tenets of Ubuntu, proving that mutual care is a language understood across vast geographical divides. We see similar success stories of cultural alignment when we look to the Nordic concept of hygge. Defined as a quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality that engenders a feeling of contentment or well-being, hygge might seem worlds apart from the warm highlands of Ethiopia, yet the underlying emotional register is identical. Both traditions prioritize creating a safe, warm environment where psychological guards can be lowered. An expatriate living in Addis Ababa might find that the smoky, grass-strewn floor of a coffee ceremony provides the exact same emotional shelter as a candlelit room in Copenhagen. These cross-cultural parallels highlight a beautiful truth. Regardless of the continent, humanity has engineered specific rituals to foster intimacy and protect the fragile bonds of friendship. To fully appreciate the gravity of the Ethiopian coffee ceremony, one must look back to the very origins of the plant itself. Legend traces the discovery of coffee to the ancient Ethiopian plateau, where a goat herder named Kaldi noticed his flock becoming unusually energetic after eating the red berries of a certain bush. While the historical accuracy of Kaldi is shrouded in myth, the anthropological reality is that coffee has grown wild in the Kaffa region for millennia. It was never merely a traded commodity here. It was a vital part of the indigenous ecosystem and spiritual life. The ceremony evolved organically from this deep ancestral relationship with the land, cementing the plant as a sacred conduit for human interaction. Over centuries, as empires rose and fell, and as modern borders were drawn and redrawn, the Buna Tetu remained a constant, stabilizing force. Through periods of political upheaval, devastating famines, and rapid modernization, the ritual served as an unbreakable thread connecting the Ethiopian people to their ancestral roots. It is a living archive of cultural identity, preserving indigenous knowledge and social etiquette that might otherwise have been lost to time. Every time the jabina is placed on the coals, the past is actively brought into the present, allowing a new generation to literally taste the endurance of their heritage. The ritual ultimately culminates in the third and final round of pouring, known as baraka, which translates to blessing. This cup is the lightest in flavor, but holds the heaviest spiritual weight. To partake in baraka is to receive the host's ultimate blessing for health, prosperity, and peace. As the final drops are consumed, a profound sense of unity settles over the room. The differences that may have existed at the start of the ceremony have been dissolved, replaced by a collective affirmation of shared humanity. The spirit of Ubuntu still resonated within them, unspoken, but deeply felt in the quiet gratitude of the final sip. But what happens when this deeply rooted tradition encounters the rapidly shifting dynamics of the modern world? In bustling urban centers and diaspora communities across the globe, the ceremony has adapted without losing its soul. It is not uncommon to find the ritual being performed in small apartments in Washington, D.C., London, or Melbourne. In these foreign landscapes, the scent of roasting beans becomes a powerful homing beacon, drawing expatriates together to recreate a sense of home. It serves as a vital bridge between the old world and the new, ensuring that cultural identity is not diluted by distance, but rather concentrated and fiercely protected. Furthermore, these diaspora ceremonies frequently become spaces of profound cross-cultural exchange. When Ethiopian immigrants invite their new neighbors of different backgrounds to partake in the Buna Tetu, they are offering a masterclass in vulnerability and inclusion. Imagine a Japanese expatriate, deeply familiar with the concept of ikigai, joining a coffee ceremony. Ikigai, the Japanese framework for finding one's purpose and joy in life through community and daily mindfulness, aligns seamlessly with the intentionality of the Ethiopian ritual. As they share the baraka cup, two distinct cultural philosophies beautifully intersect. The guest discovers a new pathway to mindfulness, while the host successfully translates their heritage into a universal language of hospitality. Such interactions are testaments to the power of shared experience in overcoming prejudice and cultural barriers. When we sit together for hours, stripping away the distractions of smartphones and tight schedules, we are forced to look at one another. We hear the cadence of a voice, notice the lines of laughter around the eyes, and recognize our own struggles mirrored in the stories of a stranger. The wisdom from that old tradition never faded, proving that when we invest time in the deliberate act of hosting, we dismantle the walls of otherness. The coffee ceremony becomes a blueprint for global empathy, a scalable model for how we might heal the fractures in our modern, disconnected societies. There is a profound psychological comfort in knowing that somewhere, right now, a jabina is boiling over warm coals. It reminds us that despite the relentless pace of contemporary life, there are still sanctuaries dedicated to the art of being human. The ceremony demands that we stop running. It asks us to sit down, to breathe in the fragrant smoke, and to acknowledge the person sitting beside us not as a passing acquaintance, but as an essential part of our own existence. This is the ultimate gift of the Ethiopian host. They offer not just a beverage, but an anchor to the present moment. For those who have had the privilege of experiencing it, the impact lingers long after the cups are washed, and the coals have cooled. The essence of hygge lingered, blending with the African warmth, leaving a permanent imprint on how one views relationships. It challenges us to reevaluate our own practices of hospitality. It begs the question of whether we are truly making space for others in our lives or simply fitting them into our schedules. The Buna Tetu teaches us that true connection cannot be microwaved or rushed. It must be cultivated with the same care and patience as a seed planted in the fertile earth. Ultimately, the story of this ancient practice is the story of humanity's enduring quest for belonging. It is a vibrant reminder that our deepest strength lies in our capacity to gather, to share, and to listen. Whether it is through the Maasai practice of Nkigwena, a traditional council meeting emphasizing deep listening and collective decision-making, or the simple act of pouring coffee in the Ethiopian highlands, our methods of connection are as diverse as they are unified in purpose. These rituals are the social glue that has held civilizations together through the darkest of times, and they remain our brightest hope for a compassionate future. The Ethiopian Coffee Ceremony stands as a towering monument to the beauty of cultural identity and the boundless generosity of the human spirit. It uncovers a truth that resonates across every continent and within every heart. We are not meant to navigate the complexities of this world alone. By embracing the slow, deliberate art of hospitality, we honor the sacred bonds of community. And in the shared warmth of a simple, dark cup, we find the profound, unbreakable threads that weave us all into the vibrant tapestry of global culture.